that no matter what field you're in, that's what everyone wants. And the pressure kind of can build when things aren't going your way. But I think a big focus for the Minnesota Lynx, and I think this is why we're great, is because we really care about the person next to us. And that's why it's so amazing to come to work every day, because it's not just about wins and losses. I mean, we all like to say it is, but the fact that we care so much about the person next to us really makes it a great place to come to work every day.
So, one of the biggest responsibilities, Claire, and she's moved out of it, although she's still traveling with us, was to locate the mango mojitos that we would consume post-game. And so I don't know when the mango mojito started, but it's just what tastes the best after mostly wins. I'd have more than one after wins and probably a half of one after losses, because they just don't taste as good when you don't win. But how many stories do you have about trying to find, what's the evolution of the beginning, trying to find those post-game drinks into well, now in this well-oiled machine? I think we buy our own and we travel with them now. Is that what it's
yes. Let's just cut out the guesswork. Let's bring them with us. There's times I was running through the streets of Washington, D.C. I was like, where can I find these things? They're nowhere. And I stumbled into this little gem of a liquor store somewhere in D.C. And they had bountiful amounts of mango. And I was like, hey, can you ship these to Minnesota? Because I can't find them anywhere. But
they don't make them anymore.
They're not my preference either. So I don't know whether they taste better or not after a loss.
Which was really cool, because I had them all to myself. Nobody but me was drinking them.
We're good with the Blue Moons.
Yes. What'd you say?
We're good with the Blue Moons.
The Blue Moons. So that's all behind the scenes stuff that you don't get to hear unless you come to the pod or download and listen to Talk North podcast. Claire, talk about your relationship with the players, and again, maybe the beginning as a young person and how it's evolved. And you've seen, you've had a core group that's been together now, and you've seen people come and go. Just talk about your impressions around that.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun part of my job, right? Is the players make everything so much fun. And I think I'm really, really lucky, because we have had the most amazing people that come in our locker room. And, it's easy to become a huge fan of Lindsay Whalen, Maya Moore, Rebecca Brunson, all, the list goes on and on. They're funny, they're smart, they're empowering, they're everything that you would want.
Who's the quirkiest? Who do you have stories about? Who's the quirkiest that you knew you could count on? Something goofy happened with them.
Simone.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
We probably could have guessed that, right?
Yeah. And she's the best. And she makes everyone, in times when maybe losses might be one or two in a row, she makes everyone feel kind of cool and light. And it makes it really fun. And she keeps you light too, I think.
She does. I've said that. She brings levity. Yeah. That's hard to do.
The love language is good between you guys.
It is. We always said that love language was love-hate. I love her and she hated me. So
I don't know if I agree, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, thank you, Claire. Give it up for Claire DeWillius, our Assistant General Manager. I want to shout out as we transition here to our team doc, our orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Nancy Cummings of Mayo. Raise your hand, Nance. Dr. Cummings in the house. Came here, this is not somebody that was in market, actually came here for this opportunity to partner, to join Mayo, but also the Minnesota Lynx, where I think we're a big reason why Dr. Cummings joined us, and has been absolutely amazing. Last year was far more busy than what we wanted, but that's when you find out how good people are, is when you go through things like that. And we like it better, Doc, when you're just traveling with us and nobody's injured. So we're going to try to get back to that in 2020.
All right, we have time for a couple of questions. Coach, if you can have one question for me, but make sure it's a good one and short, because we're running out of time, so make it count.
Okay.
2 questions from the audience from Coach Reeve. Who do we got out here?
Hi, Coach. I know more than a couple of us came from the Gopher game, and I was just wondering if you had any impressions of coaching Janelle. She was a bit of a free spirit. And the remarkable thing was, after she wasn't on the team, she came and sat courtside and watched the season. So what are your impressions of coaching her?
I like that you wore your Lynx gear. Or did you change?
It was a Black Friday special. I did change.
You changed. Okay. You went Gopher. That's what Ollie did. We had him Gopher, and then we changed him for the Lynx event. Coaching Janelle McCarville. I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't around for Janelle's time at the U. I competing against Janelle, when she was in New York. I thought she had some of her best moments as a professional basketball player. I didn't know what to expect. And we had an opportunity to trade for Janelle. I forget exactly what season it was. She helped us win in 2013, so it must have been between 2012 and 2013. I had heard a lot. I heard about this free spirit and I said, what exactly does that mean? What does free spirit mean in terms of coaching someone? And what I learned very, very quickly with Janelle was she's pretty anti-leadership, pretty anti-coach. And so early on, and I wasn't used to that because I had Lindsay, Simone, Maya, Rebecca, Taj when we had Taj or Sil now that we sort of created a collaboration that my leadership team was somebody, was a group that I spent a lot of time with. We collaborated on decisions around what time we left for a road trip or who we were going to cut during training camp. And so I had more of a group, that embraced the idea that they were actually going to work with the coach, not against the coach. And so when Janelle got here, I think that was a little bit different for her. And I remember I took her to Panera after we were kind of going through, and I said, I don't understand why the fight, I'm a big fan of yours, and we all want the same thing. And we sat down, and I said, J-Mac, as soon as you see me as somebody that's with you, then I think you're going to enjoy this a lot more. And I want your input. I want you to tell me when we draw a play and I'm putting the ball in your hands, because she's an unbelievable passer. Her vision is second to none. I mean, she's just unbelievable. The way that she sees things when she sees them. And so I wanted to learn from her. When I created a situation for her on offense, I would want her to say to me, Coach, don't run that angle. Let's do this angle because I can do this better. And that was really different for her. And so she never really embraced the idea that we were together, and we just kind of did the butt head things. I'm just kidding. It was really, how do you butt heads with J-Mac? J-Mac was a tremendous teammate. She was always down for the players sitting next to her. And I think every teammate that played with her would say just that. And I think for us, some tremendous moments. The one that's playing in my mind right now is in 2013 down in Atlanta when she made the unbelievable pass to Brunson in transition through her legs. J-Mac's unafraid. Just that's where free spirit comes in. Unafraid to do something. And we wanted her to know that we wanted her to be all of that. There would be no limitations. And you get the very, very best of Janelle when you're in that situation. You try to put her in a box, she's going to fight her way out of that box. She doesn't want to be in that box. So understanding that about her, made it a joy to coach. And I tried to learn from her. And we were happy that we were able to get a championship with Janelle being a part of the Minnesota Lynx. Thanks.
Back here, Coach.
Yep.
Okay, first off, I was one of the medic staff that covered you guys for about 5 years, and I came to love the Lynx through one of my mentors. And it'll get back to that here in a second. But, I got to see every one of the players that who came up and talked to you just performed that much better after they talked to you. And, that got me really into the team. So, with that being said, we understand that Coach Whalen, you've coached her for a long time. You still talk to her as far as the Gophers go? Because she has done a really good job at that program. And I would really think that as someone who talks to my mentors all the time, is she still leaning on you a little bit? And what advice would you and could you give her?
Well, obviously we're in close proximity. We can't escape each other, right? She's at Lynx games. I go to Gopher games. I always want Lindsay to know that I'm here if she wants to talk about anything. The greatest thing about Lindsay, when I talked to Mark Coyle and company over at the U, I'd say that I thought she would be outstanding. The odds are against a former player going back to their alma mater, being the coach and being successful. The odds are against her. But I thought that she would be different because she has a humility about her that if things weren't going well, that she would not be too proud to pick up the phone and, solicit those mentors, because she has many, around her to solve the situation. She's not somebody that thinks she knows everything. Matter of fact, one of the greatest things about Lindsay as the player was she never thought she was good enough. I remember the day she thought she was going to get cut from USAB. I had to talk her off the ledge, and because she didn't have a good practice, but nobody had a good practice, and I had to kind of tell her, like, hey, you're not going to get cut. You're okay. So she always was somebody that's motivated by, I think, thinking she's not quite good enough, that she keeps reaching to try to be a little bit better. And I think coaching's no different. I've been in touch with Way, not as much this season as I would like to be because I've been out of the country a little bit more. But certainly we've been in touch. And what I've enjoyed is it's not always X's and O's. Recently, she said, Coach, man, I was trying to remember what you would have told us if such and such was happening. And that's pretty cool, when you think about that. She valued those moments. She didn't remember them, but that's okay, because it was really memorable. But just that, again, that we're still in partnership in what we're doing. And I want her input on what she sees with the Lynx and different players. And so, I think that what you see from Lindsay is raw Lindsay Whalen being really good at what she does, and unafraid to contact me or Mike Tebow or Pam Borton, who she spent a lot of time with, just to get ideas, because she knows she doesn't know everything, and that it's just a tremendous quality. And I'm thrilled that they're doing so well. Continue to support them. It's great for women's sports in Minnesota to have Lindsay at the U. Obviously, that she played for the Lynx, and it's great for us to have a professional franchise here. We just got it going on right now in Minnesota, and we got to keep it up.
All right, this is probably your favorite part of the show, or at least this show is when I leave. But you do get the opportunity to give us any last thoughts about being here tonight, about the cause that we are here to support, about anything really that you want to say, kind of like therapy. Is there anything you want to get off your chest?
Well, what happened till I get to ask you a question?
Yeah, fire away.
Yeah. So I just was thinking, the breaking the news, and I think about Jana in the world. I know that some of the challenges that you have in your industry, and I'm just curious. I won't ask you to get into the kind of the navigating, being a woman, and wanting to do what you and Rena did. Tell me how that came to be. Whose idea was breaking the news? What kind of support did you get, or how many barriers were there? And what did you have to do to actually get on air and make this thing as good as it is?
Well, I guess the short answer to that is that just around 5 years ago now, the corporation I work for and a few of us, a few rogue players at Care 11, me being kind of the first recruited, just in terms of who's crazy enough to walk the plank and do a different kind of news show. And when an industry, think of it kind of like men's sports in the last 50 years, when it hasn't changed at all and it's just making money, and traditional newscasts are basically cisgendered white male, cisgendered white female. They do the news, and it's very serious, and they don't have an opinion. That formula, weather, sports, and then we show you a dog water skiing at the end, and that's what's done. For the TV people in the room, they know what I'm talking about. I was growing very frustrated and not very satisfied by that. If something was wrong, why couldn't we say it was wrong? If someone were out there denying that the Holocaust happened, I don't need to go get an expert on why it did happen, and why can't we say that that's wrong? So the idea is that there would be news that would be twofold, that would give more time to topics that were a little more uncomfortable, and that would be able to say, call out a falsehood, call out something that was wrong. So when we started the show, but I may need some leadership, some coaching from you as we go down. The show did start with myself and with Rena and with another reporter and with a staff of 9, and now we're a staff of like 4, and Rena's moved on, and so I do it by myself, and so I succeed or I fail by myself. And we'll see where that goes. But at the end of the day, I will be able to say that the last 3 years of my professional career has been far more rewarding than the first 18. And that was because we did it in a way that, not that I didn't have integrity before, but I felt like we were giving voice to people that weren't often given a voice, people that weren't represented or weren't represented fairly or weren't being used as experts because they weren't already in the Rolodex that was established in 1972. And so that the idea of breaking the news for me is always